Well, good morning, everyone. I think we'll get started here in a few minutes. I think the chat, if you have any questions before we get going, feel free to use the chat feature. I think it's right at the top there. And be happy to try to answer myself or Aaron, who's also on the call, will be moderating as well. So if you guys have questions, we kind of go through here. Just let us know. We'll get started in a few minutes here. Try to start right at 11. So just hang in there for a few minutes and we'll chat soon. Also, if you guys could, let's see, I'm a little new to these team webinars. If you could just mute yourself too, that'd be really helpful. Just give me 1 second here, everyone. I'm trying to just make a quick setting of my Teams. It appears my bandwidth is a little bit slow, but I am recording, so we'll be able to recap this and hopefully post it up on YouTube. And I think we'll have it on our blogs and any other applicable place as well. So, okay. Well, I am not able to have our chat bubble appear while I'm on my call here. So, Aaron, feel free to chime in if you have some questions. You know, if you think they're relevant to the you know, the webinar, feel free to just chime in and just ask me directly. So, look forward to chatting with everybody here. We're going to get started in 1 second. I just want to double check one thing here. See if I'm able to Microsoft. Let's see here. Create a break conference. All righty. Well, it seems my my Teams is a little bit uncooperative this morning, but unless there's any issues with my speaking, or actually, I think I can see the chat on my phone. That's helpful. Okay, great. All right. Well, yeah, if for those of you, I was trying to mute all, so we're not listening to people eat their breakfast or lunch or whatever. But so if you guys wouldn't mind just muting, if you have any questions, feel free to throw it up in the chat. I'm going to be able to moderate it on my phone, and also Aaron from our organization will be on there as well in case anyone has direct questions or things maybe I don't cover. If you'd like me to maybe change some things up. Can everyone hear me all right? I just want to make sure all our technical issues are good here. Aaron, are we okay?
Sounding good.
Okay. Well, we'll get started. We're going to chat a little bit about bridging age gaps in your training program. So my name is John. I'm with C3 SoftWorks. We make engagement tools for trainers. So we're going to talk a little bit about, I guess specifically something that we're more skilled in, and that's how to use engagement tools to sort of help you in areas where things can be a bit difficult, and that's where we really do well in. So today we're going to talk about age gaps. I know that's an issue that we hear a lot, especially when we go to trade shows, and you'll hear, I guess, various complaints about different generations. So it could be, millennials, they can't focus in their groups. They need to have some tools that make them, allow them to be more engaged. They get bored too easily. Or in some cases now, I think here in 2021 or, sort of post-COVID, it's the older generation struggle with technology. And we're going to talk about, how to address all those issues and focus on ways that you can use tools, I guess, in your disposal to, hopefully bridge those age gaps and keep everyone on the same page. So let's just first kind of start off with the question. I always feel like that's a good way to start a webinar. But what are some of your challenges in dealing with age gaps? Or, maybe what are some of your challenges, whether it be with technology, whether it be with engagement, and sort of bridging that. Feel free to just chat if you have some input on the side there. There should be a little chat screen as well. See, there's a few people. Older people have trouble picking up technology. Yeah, I mean that is an issue. I feel like my mom's in her 70s. She's figured out how to use QR codes to order when she goes out to dinner. So that's been a big big help for her. Fearful of engagement in self-paced courses. That's a really good one. One I haven't heard too much, but that makes a lot of sense. Just being knowledgeable. With technology, I think is, a lot of people, especially younger generations, have been brought up on it. But yeah, certainly the fear of it, creating anxiety. How do you remove that? Referencing jokes, different contexts. Do you know how Mr. Rogers is? Do they know who Drake is? Yeah, that's funny. I watched those Jimmy Kimmel episodes where they do the age gap challenge, and we're actually going to do some questions like that today as well, where people do miss the jokes a lot. So I know there's certainly I have kids in this house too that don't think I'm very funny a lot of the time. Anything else? Is there any other challenges? I guess specifically with engagement, you find that people feel like they're sort of left out sometimes when you're doing activities or when you're doing training sessions. I know I've heard that before in other. We just got back from ATD in Salt Lake, and we got a lot of that where it's like, hey, our younger generation, they might be using PowerPoint, and I'm sure everybody's heard that the death by PowerPoint. That's a pretty common phrase in training these days, but there's some truth to it. I think people, if you have these 50-slide PowerPoints and a Kahoots quiz or a Survey Monkey, things that they've been using since probably middle school in some cases for a lot of these young people, there is a bit of content fatigue. And how do we deal with that as well? How do we keep things fresh? we're gonna chat a lot about all that. But first, I just kind of want to dive into a few things here. Um, older older generation not wanting to use computers and younger generations not wanting to use phones all the time. Well, there's probably some truth to the latter. I think you know I've heard kids talk that cell phones are the new computers, and there's probably some truth to that. So understanding how younger generations um, consume information, I think is important. And also, too, older generations helping them, sort of up the curve. If they don't want to use a computer, that's it's probably a big problem here in 2021 and going forward into 2022. Um, let's chat a little bit about managing people and not the perception. I do think that there sometimes is you have a stereotype, right? Not all older workers are not tech savvy. I mean, we have people in our organization that are, close to the age of retirement that are every bit as good as using technology as younger people. And I have a 16-year-old in this house that is horrible with technology. So I think sometimes when you focus on, okay, the individual and why, um, you know, why they have challenges, I think that you're going to find it's much easier to bridge that gap. So why does it matter? I think it matters because you don't want to hurt anyone's feelings. Number one, I know we had a sales rep here that was a little bit older. We're a software company, and they would tease him about not being so tech savvy. I actually thought it was pretty good. So I think it's important that when people do good work and they use technology in a positive way, you reinforce that behavior by giving compliments. These are just simple ones like "good job." And same with younger generations. Don't assume that just because they're young, they know how to do things. My 16-year-old is probably way less tech savvy than our 60-year-old that works here. So I think that's really important as well. This is the part that we'll probably spend the most time kind of chatting about. And I don't want to spend too much time on PowerPoint. I just kind of poo-pooed it earlier. But I think it's important that you make your presentations engaging. So now that things are more virtual or hybrid or even in person, if you're just clicking on a lot of slides, it's a lot of lecture. And anytime you have lecture, it's hard to, sort of bridge those gaps, I think. And when things are engaging, everyone's involved. And I think that's really what's important in terms of bridging the age gaps. Today, we're not going to teach you about how to, teach an older generation how to use computers or a younger generation on how to, communicate in person better. But I do think that there's ways to, use your content, whatever that might be, and make it all engaging so that everyone's involved. You don't have people kind of sitting on the sidelines or wallflowers not doing anything. So, if you have games in your training program, obviously that's something that we, focus on. But there's other things you can do. It could be polling. It could be, just playing a fun icebreaker. I'm not a huge icebreaker fan, but in general, I think when you address those issues, head on, you're gonna find that people find a way to connect, and there's usually common ground. Okay. So I think this kind of relates to my first point too, is you have people that hate technology and you have people that love technology. And I think somebody mentioned it earlier, fearful of engagement in self-paced courses. So that affects how we communicate, especially here kind of in this post-COVID. I think that, anytime that you can introduce technology in ways that are fun, maybe in ways that are not necessarily overwhelming, right? So, I know a lot of trainers in the past year have maybe used some sort of, crazy interactive escape room thing that they built in Storyline. Sometimes that stuff can be a little bit overwhelming. So if you have real simple things that you can do, I know we have a group that we're sending out newsletters in PDF format, and nobody read it. So what we did is we turned them into quizzes. We made them a hybrid of quizzes and newsletters where you're sending information. There's videos. It's more digestible, and there's not a lot of commitment, I think, in terms of learning how to do something. It's just click. And if your employees can't click, I think you maybe have some more serious problems you need to worry about. But it gives people more time to be able to use the technology too. You know, some people can power through those things quickly. But in that self-paced environment where, you know, basically it's just click here, I think you're going to find that people are able to digest that information quicker. And the other one that I think is big is when you have a meeting, again, I just mentioned this, try not to make it all lecture. And I know this is a little bit of a lecture here too, but we're going to get into the engagement part and give you an example of how that works. So what can we do? You know, and I guess maybe this is a question for everybody, but, you know, have there been things that have been successful for you in your training? Generally, I think that when you do less, you're doing more. And I think it's really important that we don't overwhelm people with too much. I think you want to be able to, you know, and I know microlearning is another one of those training, you know, phrases that we hear a lot, but cutting up your training, making it more digestible is really important. And there's ways that you can do that and still make it engaging. And we'll show you one of those here today. So the first we're going to chat about, and I'm going to show you a couple things here today. The first is we're going to show you a live virtual session. So we're going to play a game. It's going to be an age gap game where we're asking different questions from different generations. But I think one of the useful things about it is that you'll see that it's not super difficult to access the technology. It basically requires you to type in a link. And like I said, if that's hard for some people, you may have some more serious problems that you know we might not be able to help you with. But I do think if, again, you can make it shorter and more manageable, you could build to that as well. So the part that I really like about the live sessions is that you have real-time feedback, right? So if you're sending out self-paced content or e-learning, you're not getting that feedback until after the fact. So you don't really have the ability to remediate. In these live virtual sessions, you get that feedback right away, and it's fun. You know, we're gonna have a little fun today too, I think. The other way is, and I had kind of mentioned this earlier, is microlearning, right? Sending out self-paced content, trying to make it very small, manageable. You know, if you're sending out 60 slide PowerPoints, a lot of times you're going to find your participants are just clicking through them as quick as they can. So break them up, maybe use some of that PowerPoint content that you've built, cut it up and you know, trim some of the fat off of it and add some questions to it, add some videos to it, add some things that are different each slide. And I think that's really important too. So we're going to play a quick game here. We'll come back to this slide in a second here, but I'm going to go ahead and change my my sharing. See if things will quickly slide over here. Here we go. So this is my age gap quiz. It's one of my favorites. To sign in, like I said, it's pretty easy. My 73-year-old mother figured out the QR code. Basically, if you have a camera on your phone, just open the camera, highlight it, don't take a picture of the QR code, and it should take you directly to the sign-in screen where it'll ask you for your name and to choose a team. Feel free to choose either team if you want to be the red hipster team or the cool grandma with the Ray-Bans. Doesn't matter. Kind of like the cool grandma. If your QR code's not working or you don't have a phone, you can also use your browser. So all of you, I'm sure, are on some sort of internet connection. You can just go to bravozone.us and then type in my instructor ID, and it'll allow you to join. And if anyone has any trouble logging in, or if there's any questions, again, feel free to just hop into the chat here. We'll try to be done here by, I think probably done by 11:30 or so. So again, if you have questions, feel free to let us know. Like Emma, the computer versus phone gap is big for me. Yeah, I mean, I think if people aren't using the phone or the computer, that's a problem. But I think the phone is maybe, you know, there's a lot of things that you can do. This is a great example. Again, doing some of the self-paced content on the phone. I know we have sales reps that use their phone as their customer relationship management tool. I don't think there's anything wrong with that. So looks like we have 26 people on this call. And there's probably, it's like 17 on the game. Just want to make sure everybody has a chance to sign in. Again, you can use your QR code. Just open up the camera, highlight that QR code, takes you directly to the sign-in screen where you can choose the Ray-Ban grandma or the hipster nerd here with the bow tie. And also, too, if you'd like to join, I'm going to get started here in a second. You can go to the link at the bottom. So just enter this into your browser. Can't copy it, obviously, because we're just sharing a screen. I don't think Teams is that interactive yet, but feel free to just type in that link and go. It'll take you directly to our remote access, and then enter in my code. So that'll stay at the bottom the whole time. If you still want to get into the game when I start, so you can join at any time. So I had mentioned this before, but I think sometimes when we have presentations, they're not very interactive, right? You throw in some questions in a PowerPoint, you get a little bit of feedback. You guys are all trainers, so you know, some of you are very good at responding, but I'm sure in a lot of your presentations, you get the crickets when you ask questions in your PowerPoint. So I'm going to show you a way that you can sort of bring everybody into the into the presentation. This is a game called Catapult. All of our games are the formula is kind of the same. Different formats. This one just kind of has some goofy animations. It's one of my personal favorites because I sort of like the goofy. But there's more serious presentations too. There's Hollywood kind of TV style formats. But we're going to just do this one today. Alrighty. So the first question, and again, I like to use my content, and this is some PowerPoint information that I had on a previous version of this webinar, but just describing what the different generation gaps are. So again, you can repurpose some of your lecture material into games. The best part is you guys are probably all waiting for the question now. You're getting ready to answer. I have your attention. So now is a great time to present these topics. I'm not going to get too much into the weeds with this, talking about boomers and Gen Y and Gen X, but because I think you probably know which one category you fit into and have heard of some of the other ones. But I think focusing on the stereotypes probably is a negative, but I think it's a great example to show how you could use some of your presentation material in something that's more engaging. So the first question is actually going to be a baby boomer question, maybe even predates baby boomer. But the first question is, why are penny loafers called penny loafers? And feel free to use your mobile device to sign in. This little bar over here is just let me know how many folks have entered in. I shut the timer off today, so no timer. If you want me to zoom in on the old penny loafers, we can. So why are those called penny loafers? All right, they're so cheap. Pennyworthies in Casablanca. It's another older reference. You could put a penny in them, or cost a penny to get them shine. So again, I'm still lecturing here, still talking about penny loafers, but now I'm able to get some percentages. And in this case, we have 80% chose C. So that's a pretty high percentage. In some cases, you're going to see that, maybe 50% said A, right? They're cheap. They only cost a penny. Well, that's great. It allows me to get some feedback. And you'll notice I haven't told you if the answer is right yet. So it allows me to ask some questions. Why do you think it's, in the case of A, why do you think A is the right answer? And we can have some unique dialogue. I think everybody more or less got this one right. So we're not going to do that today, but it gives you an idea of how you might be able to use that in your session, right? To engage everybody, right? I have everybody's response. I know what they know, and now I can use that information to, get a little bit more detail, figure out why people are thinking the way that they're thinking. And in this case, the answer is, in fact, C. So congratulations to those that got that right. I'll turn my sound back on. And then again, you could repurpose your old PowerPoint material. Hey, here's some information, right? So for those of you that got it wrong, here's why it's the right answer. There's the penny in the loafer. But for those of you that got it right, you might not know that they're actually called Ouijans, and they became popular in the U.S. among prep students who legend states that pennies in the slot to pay for phone calls. So again, I knew the answer to this, but I didn't know that extra content. And I think when you look at games as just a review tool, I think you're only just scratching the surface of it. This is a really good presentation tool where you can introduce the topic, ask questions, get the responses, and then fill in those knowledge gaps right there live on the spot. So if you're on Team Blue, congratulations. You have the highest percentage correct. So you will be able to choose your account. If kind of partial to the trash and the posted. And feel free to refresh your screen if it ever gets stuck. I know some people have Wi-Fi issues. Looks like the fireball is kind of leading the way here. Alrighty. No, sorry. Teams has next sound on or not, but oh, 72%. We'll see what happens here. It's like the trash. It looks pretty even. You guys are kind of picking all over the place. Oh, it looks like The Rock was the big winner. Every punishment's different, so feel free, Red, if you get the answers right, to return the favor on the next one. It's kind of goofy. So this next question, again, I'm using just a real simple slide to introduce the topic, talking about Generation Y. People probably born in the late 70s, maybe even early 80s. I don't know if early 80s is quite Gen Y, but maybe it's mid 70s. Anyway, here's Gen Y's question. Song I Want It That Way is by which famous boy band? Make a phone call for a penny. What payphone accepted pennies? I think it's probably in the early 1900s for that one. But this one's a slam dunk. If you were in high school in the late 90s or early 2000s, should be pretty easy. This guy looks familiar. I like to put in gifts. I know they're kind of distracting, but so if you know who this guy is, it could be a pretty easy answer for you. And I'm going to go ahead and just advance it. I know we're only at 80%, but I want to keep things flowing here. All right. Ooh, okay. So a little bit of a knowledge gap here, right? So 25% said NSYNC. Why did you guys think it was NSYNC? Who does this guy look like? Or New Kids, right? Maybe some of you thought it was New Kids. Nick Carter, yes, you are correct. This is Nick Carter, and Nick Carter is, in fact, in the Backstreet Boys. Is it Aaron Carter or Nick Carter? I always get those two mixed up. So yeah, Backstreet Boys. In this case, you could throw in a video. Art games, you can also use the self-paced too. So a lot of times these videos in, maybe in a live setting are not that helpful unless they're short. You want to keep things kind of compact again. But in a self-paced setting, you maybe want some more explanation. If we wanted to watch YouTube clips of I Want It That Way, we could. I think I'm going to go ahead and just skip the Backstreet Boys for this afternoon. We'll, if you want to go find some more information about that, you can. Ooh, so it looks like Red Team was the winner on this one. A little payback from The Rock. Personally, I kind of like the Post-it. Trash. The trash is funny too, but looks like the Post-it's kind of leading the way here. I'm going to go ahead and just advance it. Here comes the Post-it, and the cool hipster grandma that's now an ugly old ogre. All righty, we got two more questions. We'll keep it very short. Your worm of the day. Millennials. This is kind of a tough question, I think, unless you're, probably in your early 20s, maybe even younger. What does slaps mean? It's something I've heard on TV a few times. I think the kids in this house are too young for this one, but my image probably isn't that relevant. But it slaps mean to strike sharply as if with an open hand. Slaps, crackle, pop, it's a new cereal, or to be excellent or amazing, or D, to be shocked. All right, looks like we're getting everyone kind of answer on this one. Very tough question. Ooh, okay. 55% say food, to be excellent or amazing, and 30% say D, to be shocked. I'm curious why you guys think that. Again, if this was your classroom, you could be asking some questions and maybe pointing out individuals and see see what they think. Again, if you want to create an extra sense of drama, you could go ahead and look at the top scoring users too. We're going to skip that for now. I don't want to single anybody out, but there's a few things you could do here to kind of prolong the excitement. But it's C, actually, to be excellent or amazing. And for those of you that got it wrong, here's why it's right. And for those of you that got it correct, maybe here's some more information. It's used a lot in music, right? So the song slaps. I don't know what the reference is. Maybe it's like slapping good. This definition slaps hard. I don't think so. I think I copied it from somewhere. All right, blue team. You get to choose your attack. I think last time we used the rock. So we got the fireball and we got the trash. This game is not super violent, so don't be expecting anything bad with this. It's kind of a goofy way to punish, but you would not believe, trainees' feelings getting hurt on this one. It's a big one. Here comes the fireball, and Little explosion. Final question. So this is a hard one. This doesn't really apply to anybody. Unless maybe you have kids. If you have some 15-year-old boys, it'll be a bit of a slam dunk, no pun intended. Who is this famous YouTuber? That's a big thing now. You're in that boomer generation. Be cool if you know any YouTubers. I don't know that many, and I'm in my late 30s. So, PewDiePie, Dude Perfect, Smart, Ninja, Markiplier. Markiplier. All right, so looks like we're about 70% in. Kind of a cool shot there. All right, I'm gonna go ahead and just advance the screen. Ooh, all right, this is kind of cool. A little bit of a knowledge gap here, right? We're kind of all over the board. We got about half the class or half the group choosing different answers than Dude Perfect. So excellent example of a knowledge gap, right? If we wanted to have a long conversation about why we thought Ninja was the correct answer, we could. I think Ninja's a gamer, so I think a little bit different. But I think this is my favorite tool to bring everyone together because everyone's invested. You have something at stake, even if it's just a stupid animated castle. We're all on board. And I think anytime you can kind of combine young and old people together where they're teaming up, it's great. And these questions are great where you kind of have different things all over the board for everybody. You're bringing everyone together. And ultimately, I think that's what's important here. Dude Perfect, correct answer, right? He makes the shot and he goes, Dude Perfect. I think there's a bunch of them actually. And they are very famous. They go all over the country, 41 million YouTube subscribers. So feel free to Google that one after. You might have some fun. Well, that's the last question. So the big dragon's going to come out. And looks like blue team is very narrowly the big winner. So I'm sorry, red team, your castle has been destroyed. We got the Game of Thrones kind of in there. So it looks like blue team won 3 questions, red team won 1. But the point totals were very close. And individuals, looks like Paul. I guess that Backstreet Boys question kind of put you over the over the line there. But good job for you, Paul. The part I really like actually is it'll highlight the questions, so it puts them back in order in terms of which were the most challenging. So in this case, who's this famous YouTuber? 41% got that one right. So that might be a question you want to go back and revisit. The great thing about our software is that you could repackage this question into a different game. We have a question library. I know some people will throw it into, some micro learning content, send it out afterwards, and have a little bit of extra review afterwards. Hey, we just want to make sure that you retain this information. You guys all remember Dude Perfect. Hopefully you guys all do as well. And that's it. That's it for the game. Are there any questions about today? I'm going to switch my screens here in a second, but just want to make sure that everybody, let's just back to that PowerPoint, which is a poo-poo PowerPoint. I know we have an instructor here that doesn't even use PowerPoint anymore. He just uses 100% the games, which I think is pretty cool. But I like to show PowerPoint just to show you that we can repackage that content. So, Catapult coming soon is kind of an older slide, obviously, but we have 8 different games. Again, we played Catapult today. We could drag that Dude Perfect question into a Spark quiz, send it out as a quiz after, or in some cases, even before assessment. Hey, we just want to see where everybody's at. Again, another way to bring these age gaps together. You're creating competition, you're creating teamwork, using games. And I think that's a really good way to use it. Any questions, any feedback? If you guys are interested in trying this out, we'd be happy to chat with you quick and then send you a quick demo. We just want to make sure we get everything set up correctly for you. Thanks, Aaron, for posting that. But yeah, I think there's a demo on our site, but anytime we can walk people through it, I think you're going to get some good ideas for how to use it as well. How does this work in self-paced training? Well, one way you could do it is send it as a link. So you could set, for example, the game we just played, I could send it to you. You could play it as a link. The other way you could do it is you could put it in your learning management system via SCORM. So just upload it to the LMS, and you'd have that content sitting right there. Good question, Emma. Emily. G, kind of rhymes. Okay, any other questions? Can it be inserted into a development program like Articulate? Yes. With Storyline, it'd be a little different. You could post a link and it would basically go to our site. So if you wanted to use the instructor-led portion of it, where kind of like today we were playing it, it would have to connect to our site. So basically what you could do is just link it to, Storyline or Articulate, and then it would link directly to our site. The other way you could do it is if you wanted to upload it as a self-paced activity, you could upload it to Articulate as well. Good question. Cool. Anybody else? Hopefully I gave you guys some new ideas. I think, the age gap thing, to me, 100% honest, I think is a little bit overplayed. I think it's just like anything, right? You have people that don't like tech, you have people that do, you have a comfort level, and sometimes you don't. And I think anything that you can do to bring everyone together, people are going to learn some new skills, even things that you're not necessarily training. So I think that's really, hopefully, the lesson here. Again, games that we think is a great way to bridge those gaps. So if you'd like to try ours out, we'd be happy to set you up. And if you have a training session kind of here in the near future, we'd be happy to help you with that as well. So for those of you that have a license already, we're happy to kind of walk you through it. Or for those of you that don't, we'll set you up and you can try it out for a class. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day, and hopefully we'll catch you on the next one. I think Aaron is going to be presenting that next week, Aaron?
Yes. Yep, next week.
Okay, so what's the topic? What's the day?
Oh boy, I don't even remember. I think next week is microlearning.
Check your email. Yeah. Okay. Good. So you can kind of see the flip side where we send out those links. So I appreciate it, everybody. You guys have a great day. We'll chat with you soon. Thank you.